Hello, hello, hello. It's Neil from Clever Property Investing, and I hope you are fabulous today. Today, I wanted to talk about the things that you must focus on when you're doing some of these creative deals. You must focus on, and the most important thing is communication. You must keep the communication going between everybody and all parties involved. It's very, very simple for people to say, well, I've had my offer accepted on this property. I'm now going to hand it over to the agent, and the agent is going to take it from there. And I'm just going to sit back and wait for them to deal with it. I'm going to sit back and wait for the solicitors to deal with it and just sit around and wait for them to prompt me. That is not a great way to be, because what actually happens is you're driven by them. And if the solicitor decides they don't want to work so hard that week, then they're not going to work that hard that week. If the agent decides that they can't be bothered chasing up things, then that's what's going to happen. You're going to find that your project time is delayed and things get delayed and things take longer and longer. And it's not unusual for someone to turn around and say, look, it took me 6 months for me to buy this property from when offer was accepted to actually purchase an ownership. Whereas you want to get that down to as quick as possible so that you can start using that property and earning money from that property in whatever way it is that you decided to do. So here's a few tips today for things that you should be doing and people you should be communicating with. So number one is, I've already mentioned, you need to communicate with your agent. I think when you purchase something, you need to be talking to these people at least once a week. So that's once a week, all of these people I'm going to talk about. Now, your agent, once they have an offer accepted, they normally have someone in the business or in the office that's the progressor. It's the progressor's job to progress the purchase or the sale. And really their job to sort of chase all these things. My experience so far is that the progressor seems to be somebody who maybe is junior, isn't great at doing what they want to do, don't really have experience in purchasing properties themselves, so they tend to not be so great at that follow-up process. So for you, you need to put your hat on and also become the progressor. And your job as a progressor is to make sure everybody has everything they need at every stage to move it forward as quickly as possible. So for example, you would phone your agent and you'd say to your agent, have you sent out a memorandum of sale? The memorandum of sale lists your solicitor and the purchaser's solicitors and the purchaser's name and the seller's name. So you can then say, have you got all this? Is it come out? Great. Have you sent that to the various parties? Great. So then the next step would be to talk to your solicitor again weekly. Hi, I've just bought, my solicitor called Remia. Hi Remia, I've just bought this property number 135 the High Street. I bought it for this. I've bought it from this company. I've had the memorandum of sale, which hopefully has come through to you as well. Here's the details. Please open a case and get it started and let me know what you need to progress. Next step is then, if you're going to get a mortgage, you need to be on it with your mortgage broker. The mortgage broker will then get your offer application in so that you can have that come through again weekly with the mortgage broker. If they're actually, my experience of mortgage brokers and the one we use, DMI Finance in Chippenham, are amazing. But if you have a broker who's particularly slow or understaffed or really hard worked, they may not be as quick as you want them to. So again, what do you need, Mr. Broker, Mrs. Broker, from me to progress this forward? Oh, okay, so I need your um, statements, your bank statements for the last 3 months. I need to have you fill in this form for me. I need you to do X, Y, Z. So you do all of that thing and you make sure that progresses forward. And it's the same every single week. You're doing that every single week. What do you need? Have you got everything you need? Who's not, who's holding the process up? Is it me that's holding the process up? Do you need something from me? Is it the seller solicitors holding something up? Do we need to chase them? Is it something from my solicitors holding up? Is it something that the mortgage lender's holding up? What is it you need? And then on top of all of that, if you are doing a creative deal and you're doing a direct to vendor finance, so you're also involving the vendor, you need to speak to the vendor every single moment you can. For example, the deal I've just gone through just should be completing this week, next week, and the person who's selling the property, the vendor, has loads and loads of questions. They've never done a creative finance deal before. They've never done it in this way before. So at every point, we've had conversations. So there was one week we probably had conversations 2 or 3 times that week because she was confused about certain aspects of the loan. There was elements where she was really feeling a bit stressy because her staff in the business that she was selling were giving her a hard time. So again, I need to talk to her about that. How can we help with that situation? And I've had multiple face-to-face meetings with her. So we've had coffees, we've gone out for lunch, we've sat down with the paperwork. I've explained the paperwork to her because it's been a bit confusing for her. All of these things are really important to get that deal and will make the difference between you having to wait 6 months, 8 months, 9 months to purchase a property to actually being 2, 3, maybe 4 months at the most. So just remember, you must communicate. Communication is the most important thing, actually, with anything. But in this particular scenario, communication is very, very, very important to get this project over the line. It's Neil from Clever Property Investing. If you need any help with this, get in touch, book a call.